Good evening, dear participants. We are into the third and final day of our workshop. So, this has been a journey together, and actually, I think of like Canterbury Tales, where people walk together, uh, they share their stories. So, in a way, we are sharing our stories of research, and definitely, there is something which every one of you has got from others. And definitely, we were a family all these 2 days. And now we are into the third day. So, in the first day, we think about framing our research. Second day was structuring our study. And the third and final day, we'll be focusing on publishing, pre-submission, and responsible use of AI. So I welcome our resource person, Dr. Manu Mangan, and all our dear participants to this third day of the workshop. So let's make the best out of it. Uh, Without much ado, over to you, Minister.
Thank you, Harry. Good evening, dear participants. So, the third day, the final day, and I hope I am audible and visible. There are no network issues. Thank you, Deepthi, and requesting a few others as well who can to please turn your videos on one last time. So that's the only request. Yeah, thank you, Priyanka ma'am. A few others also, if you can, that is always good. It helps me. I that is the reason why I request you. Thank you, thank you. Friends, uh, the agenda for today's session is something like this. I plan to talk to you, to commence our discussion with a short um, you know, short discussion on the use of AI in research. Then we will proceed to a synoptic discussion of the steps involved in publishing research. Then we will look at, or we will try to understand journals and the publishing process, journal ranking, indexing, what are the essential checks before submitting a research paper, what are these things called impact factor and H-index, and what sense should we make of it? Should we pay to publish our research? What are predatory journals? What is predatory publishing? How to identify good journals? So this is the kind of discussion that we will be having today. I know yesterday it was a little heavy. Today it will be a lot lighter because we have done the hard part and we can, discuss uh, these things, and we are good to go, I believe. So, use of AI in research. I would like to begin with a confession actually. There was a time when, the last couple of years, when I used to give lectures titled Integrating AI Tools into Research, the Benefits of Digital Humanities, AI as Surrogate Author, and so on. Somewhere along the way, I lost that faith and conviction, not the faith and conviction in AI, but the faith and conviction in in me, in us, human beings. And these days, I'm aggressively trying to detoxify, what can I say, de-addict and unlearn AI after I realized probably how it started corroding my brain, corrupting my thinking, and making me incorrigibly lazy. Not AI's fault. I can never blame AI for any of the things that have come on me. Not AI's fault, my fault. And but then I can't recommend or suggest something that is against my conscience. It is not right. And so I'm not recommending AI. I'm not talking against AI either. I'm just talking against myself and my wrong use of AI, or the ways in which my use of AI hasn't been uh, very good to me as a person, as an individual, as a citizen, as an academician. So, uh, all said, AI is not the enemy of research. Never, never. But it is a terrible substitute for thinking. This is what I have felt. It is not an enemy, but it becomes a problem when we use it to substitute for our own thinking. That is when we are in deep, deep trouble. And if we use it ethically, and in a judicious manner, AI can definitely help us, whether it is to brainstorm questions, to map existing ideas, map existing debates, make corrections and modifications, and provide clarity and fine tune your language. All these things AI is very good at. There's so many things that AI is very good at, but it may not be very good for us. But then, what are the questions we can ask AI, and what are the questions we may not or should not be asking AI, especially from a research perspective? I believe that we may or we can ask AI, when it comes to research, we can ask, what debates do you think exist around this theme? Okay, this is my theme, this is my broad area, so what debates exist around this theme? Or I can ask, how has this concept evolved historically, or how has this concept been discussed? Who are the major thinkers, and what are the related areas? These are some of the questions that I can ask without fear or favor to my chat GPT or to the AI. And there is nothing wrong in using AI to brainstorm, bouncing ideas, to brainstorm research questions or angles. There is nothing wrong with using AI to improve the grammar or the style or the coherence of your research after you are done with your writing. There is nothing wrong with asking AI to help you with reorganizing your drafts you have already written. See, AI can and may help you express ideas, but clearly, AI must not produce ideas. It may not be so harmful in other areas as in research. In research, it is harmful as well because we are committing the error of plagiarism. If we ask AI to produce ideas for us, to generate ideas for us, and that is something which is a strict no. And we must not use AI to interpret literary texts on our behalf, because if we are not if we don't want to interpret either, then why are we here? Better we go and let AI do everything, right? So let us not ask AI to interpret. I know that it does a rather good job in interpreting as well, but the moment you start asking AI to interpret on your behalf, you are in deep trouble. You are crossing the limits. We should not be asking AI to generate critical arguments or claims on our behalf. You should not ask AI to write literature reviews for you. Not at all. You write literature reviews and you can ask AI what is missing, or how can I improve it, what are the areas that I may have overlooked, or have I placed more emphasis than is required to certain areas. These are certain things we can do, but not asking AI to write your literature review without source checking. I have heard in different lectures people asking this question, and there are lectures happening all over which talking about integrating AI tools into research and teaching. And there I'm sorry if I sound too cynical, but I feel that we are being taught how to plagiarize without being caught. We are being taught how to use AI for everything without being caught, or the best way possible. Is it the right way to think, especially if we are teachers? Is it the right message that we want to pass on to the progeny, the future generations? These are some questions that we should definitely think of. We must not use AI even to paraphrase the others' ideas, especially with a goal to avoid citation, because this is the thing that is being taught, how to do the citation, and do paraphrasing, and to how to avoid citation. You're teaching stealing. When we are teaching that, when we are teaching students how to do it, so that you can escape citing things. You know, um, yes, when we talk about AI as a tool and things like that, maybe it is not that much of a crime to talk about these things. But why should we teach wrong things, or why should we be promoting these wrong things, and especially in events organized by departments of colleges, or colleges themselves, universities themselves? Why should we be integrating AI into our teaching learning process and research process? And I think we are misguiding a lot of people by doing that. So, and we should not be ever using AI to submit AI generated analysis and call it our own. Blatant plagiarism. Let us not do that. Let us not ask AI to invent citations for us. AI is very good with inventions. It can talk to you about an essay written in 19 or 1829 on a post-colonial reading of Midnight's Children. All these things it will do, because it is timeless, spaceless. For it, it doesn't matter if post-colonialism started, or things like that after the 1960s. It will still give you a quotation from an essay written in 1820. So these kind of things we have to be extremely wary of. And uh, I would I would exhort all of us to exercise caution, exercise homeostatic tendencies when it comes to embracing AI and its tools, because it is fast. The evolution that is happening is super fast. And what if it is not good? I mean, still, even now, we don't know whether it is good or bad. What if it isn't? So, a little bit of caution is never a bad thing. Never ask AI what this text means. Yeah, you don't understand a sentence, you can ask, please elaborate or explain or clarify this thing for me. That is fine, but not about a text, entire text. Don't ask what does this poem mean. No, 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 no. Or don't ask what should my argument be. No, AI must never replace interpretation. AI must never replace our argument or our critical judgment. It should never happen. The moment we allow AI to do these things, we have no point in saying that we are alive. Because if you cannot think, if you are not interested in thinking, if you're not interested in using your own brain for at least literary interpretation, argumentation, critical judgments for your research, then why are we here? If AI can do your work without you, it is not you, first thing, and it is not research either. It is generation. It is text generation, not research. Interpretation. at least keep interpretation to the human province. Interpretation is our right, and we will not allow AI to do it for us. Interpretation is our right, our honor, our privilege, and our responsibility as well. That is why I and you and we are all here, here not just in the lecture, but on this planet Earth. If we cannot do that, then why should we be here? So and today, until like 3 years before, we used to talk of ethical research, and it had never some, we used to wax eloquent on plagiarism and types of plagiarism. But I don't believe that I should any longer talk about plagiarism at all, because we should talk about ethical research in terms of declaring AI assistance honestly. We should have that courage. AI can assist, no problem, but it cannot, replace responsibility. Never allow AI to replace human responsibility. We should not be doing that. We should never be doing that. You know, what is the progression? Think first, write next, edit with AI if needed, not a problem. Edit, proofread with AI, good, fine. Ask for feedback, ask for critical comments on what you have written. That's all fine. Take that feedback. It is super good at those things. But thinking, writing should be our own province. And I don't want to talk at length on the influence or use of AI, other than telling you for the time being. Of course, we'll come to AI in the course of our other discussions as well. But I would want to also tell you a little bit about the need for disclosure. And I think that is fast becoming the norm. We need a disclosure protocol for whatever we are doing, something that we can use wherever required by institutions or journals or lectures. I think that caveat, that disclaimer should always be there. Like terms and conditions apply, we should say that how much AI have I used for this lecture? How much AI have I used for my paper? How much AI have I used in preparing this music? We have to do it. We have to tell not only how much, but also to what extent and in what all areas. We have to be clear about it. Something like a disclosure statement, it should be something like AI tools were used for this research for language refinement and structural or organizational assistance. All interpretations, arguments, and critical essays, critical analysis are my own. We have to own certain things, and we have to say this is what AI has done. And we have to be honest, 100% honest, because I don't want to frighten you and say that make you behave like saying that you will go to hell, or that is not the point, but you will go to some other hell, because you may not do this disclosure right now, because there may not be the tools may not be good enough to detect everything that you are doing. But I'm sure that very soon we will have a foolproof system which will tell us that this is generated through AI and this is not generated. Right now, the system is in the development stage, and it is not yet foolproof. And you see, the sentences that we write on our own are marked as AI generated, and things that are perfectly AI generated, which we ourselves generate AI to, this plagiarism techer tools tell us that they are human text, completely human text. Right now, there are ways to bypass the rules and conventions and everything, but very soon the rules will change, and technology will grow. And then what will happen if it is okay with a class or something, but what if it is a paper that you publish, or what if it is your PhD thesis? It is okay if you just stop your studies and then do some farming after that, it is fine. But what if for some unfortunate reason, if you become the vice chancellor of a university or a professor in a reputed college, and then your paper is reviewed by people, and then what will happen? They will say that, oh, he did this 10 years ago, 5 years ago. His papers were all plagiarized, his papers were all AI generated. And if fear will prevent you from doing wrong, yeah, take that for an iota of fear. So something should prevent us from plagiarizing blatantly from AI. Be transparent, because if you have such a disclosure, okay, I have used for such and such purposes, and these things I have kept exclusively my own. If you do that, if you are transparent, transparency protects credibility. And it is never a problem if you admit doing something, not exactly, but at least we should have that honesty to admit what we are doing and what we are not doing with AI, especially in research related matters. Now, think of publishing research, and um, a thesis, a paper that I write, is only a private achievement until it is published. It is a laurel, a feather on my cap, I can say, but nobody sees that feather until I get it published. It is very important. A publication is a public conversation. You are entering a public conversation by publishing something. It is not only about impressing, it is not only about enhancing your CV, it is not only about better job opportunities, it is about entering a dialogue, a knowledge, an epistemological dialogue. You're entering a dialogue. But then when scholars say today that, sir, I want to publish, what they often mean is, I want to exist, I want to survive, isn't it? It is not about name or fame or anything, because in academia, publication is necessary for survival. You survive, you publish, or you perish. You publish and survive, or not publish and be ready to be fired, thrown out of this academic labyrinth. But then let us also see the larger picture. you know just because something is happening, of course we need to know how to tackle the situation, but just because something is happening, we should not be doing the wrong things, saying that everybody is doing it. I think so. And if our ethics is strong, if our conscience is good, whatever the world says, we can still survive. But the moment our conscience questions us, it is difficult. So uh, it is not just about conscience, it is about some of the finer aspects of life: happiness, satisfaction, fulfillment. And that is why I want us to see the larger picture of publishing. Let us not always think about publishing as a rat race. Publishing is not a race, it is not a CV building exercise alone. Some ways it is, but it is not always a CV building exercise. It is participation in the history, in the archaeology of knowledge, in the history of ideas. When you publish, you are entering dialogue. The way T.S. Eliot would put it when he speaks about tradition, he speaks in his tradition and talent. You are entering into dialogue not only with the present, but also with the past, and also with the future generations when you are publishing something. It is a dialogue which is timeless and spaceless. You are conversing not only with your peers, not only with the experts of the time, not only with your students, but also with preceding generations, but also with Shakespeare and Milton, but also with T.S. Eliot and whoever you want to converse with, but also with future generations, definitely. And that is why we have to publish carefully. We have to publish ethically. You make a wrong, if you take a false step here, and maybe there is no going back. Maybe there is no correcting, there is no method to retract. Publish, always remember this as well. Of course, ethics and everything matters, but also publish where your work belongs. My dear friends, belongingness is something that we human beings crave for. If we don't belong somewhere, that is the worst, one of the worst feelings in life, when you feel that you are not considered to be belonging somewhere, whoever it is, wherever it is. And your work, when you publish your paper in a a literature paper, when it is published in a journal devoted exclusively to chemistry, that paper will feel left out, abandoned. It won't feel that it will belong there. You might not worry, but the paper should worry. And if the paper is your intellectual output, if the paper is your progeny, it is your offspring, it is your child. And if you look at it like that, you cannot throw your paper into some trash. You cannot throw your paper into some trash journal, which or into some publishing mill. You should not be doing it. And that is why we have to publish our work where it belongs. It is an important aspect, in a crucial aspect in understanding journals and the publishing process. Many scholars think, where can I publish? It's a question, common question. Where can I publish? I have a paper. Where can I publish this paper? And it's an innocent question. They don't mean anything bad. Just because they don't know where to publish, because they don't see any journals accepting submissions. They don't see any journals where they can at least submit without pawning their or mortgaging their property and land and all assets, because that is the nature of article processing charges these days, which Scopus and Web of Science journals charge. So but then, where can I publish is not probably the right question to ask. It will not help us much. The better question to ask is, where does my argument belong? Not where I should publish, but where does my argument, where does my topic, where does my theory, where does my baby belong? That is what we should be thinking. And that is when we are talking about the scope of a journal. What is the scope? Just like we human beings have our own different weird, strange eccentricities and personalities, journals also have preferences. There is nothing wrong with it. If you submit an article on economics to a journal devoted to fuzzy mathematics, it is not the journal's problem that it rejects your paper, because it doesn't belong there. And if it accepts and publishes it, it doesn't mean that your paper belongs there. Yeah, it means in a way that it means that your paper belongs there, because it is a trash, and you are putting your paper into trash. And if you are a person who is willing to push your baby into the drainage, then yes, your baby belongs there. It's okay. If that is the value you give to your intellectual output, then yes, it is fine. Dear friends, you know, journals have their own scopes, their own preferences. Some journals are theoretical in nature. They love theory. So, they prefer articles full of theoretical discussions and critical frameworks. Okay, nothing wrong. If you are not interested in theorizing, don't publish in that journal. Fine. But don't blame the journal because it is not accepting your paper. Make sure that you submit only to those journals which have a scope in alignment with your whatever you have written. Some journals focus on specific geographical regions. For example, they may publish research related to a particular country, particular culture, or a particular geographical area. South Asia. This is a term that we come across often these days. South Asia, South Asian, whatever it is. So there, if we submit something on Europe, it is not going to work. It is not going to work at all. And some journals care a lot about history. They are interested in historical periods, historical movements, or historical developments. There you have to submit papers that are connected with history. Some journals prefer to focus on language. They publish works related to linguistics, discourse, translation, or language studies. No point submitting a paper on mathematics to such a journal. Not at all. Not at all. And if you submit a paper on language to such a journal and if it gets rejected, that is an altogether different matter. It could be a problem with your submission, or it could be, a policy thing, or your paper could be plagiarized, or it may not suit that particular volume for some reason. There could be so many other reasons, but at least we have to ensure that we are submitting it to the right place, to the right journal, to the place where your article will belong, provided it is published. Some journals even encourage interdisciplinary work, and people feel that interdisciplinary journals are the best bet for us. Why? Because we don't find any journals exactly suiting whatever we are doing. And so we feel that, okay, let it be interdisciplinary. Let me send it to this interdisciplinary journal. They welcome research that combines multiple disciplines, multiple subject areas. That doesn't mean that everything should be sent there. And there is something else as well. It is okay that you submit articles to interdisciplinary journals, but at least make sure that there is some sense and sensibility in submitting it to that journal. Of course, there are good multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary journals. Make sure that you are not making a mistake by sending it to a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary journal. In short, before submitting your article, understand clearly what kind of journal you are submitting to. If your article's nature matches the personality of the journal, your chances of getting accepted increase exponentially, without a doubt. So this is one key thing that we need to remember. So the question we are asking is not where can I publish, but where my article can belong. This is the difference that we need to maybe incorporate into our research and methods. Now think that you have written an article, and now after writing your article, you are thinking where to submit it or where to get it published. Yes, I understand that we have a few people from other disciplines as well, from management, from economics, from library science, from law. Of course, it is not to exclude you, but I admit it as my lack of knowledge if I say something specifically literature or language oriented, because if I know anything, it has something to do with language and literature, and in your areas, I'm not good. That is the simple reason. So just for the sake of an example, suppose you wrote an article on ecological concerns or environmental concerns in post-COVID Indian novels. Okay, an article you have written on ecological concerns in post-COVID. What has it done? It has limited the scope considerably by saying post-COVID. Post-COVID would mean after 2022 at least. So only the last 3 years, and that is one simple way to limit the scope of your research. And you're looking at ecological concerns and how ecological concerns get represented in novels, that too from India, and that too written in English. So you have lot of limiting strategies that probably you wrote this essay, you wrote this paper after you attended this workshop and you understood how to limit your scope. Now, after writing this paper, you are jubilant, you are over the moon and sun and everything. You enter your supervisor's room, like Arjuna entering Kurukshetra. And yes, it is a battlefield. The place where your supervisor is, it is a battlefield. And you tell your supervisor, ma'am, I have written a paper on environmental issues in novels written after COVID in India. And your supervisor says, well done, beta, very good, very good. Send it to maybe the Journal of Postcolonial Environmental Humanities. Okay, good journal. The teacher has a good, the supervisor has a good knowledge of journal. So she suggests Journal of Postcolonial Environmental Humanities, something that is within the scope and everything of what we have written. But then we have a problem. But sir, but ma'am, that journal takes minimum 8 months to start reviewing my article. And I have heard from my peers that they submitted in 2019, and even now they haven't got it published, or they haven't got a reply from that journal. So I afraid that I'm afraid whether I will get a reply before the next COVID wave. So should I send it to that journal? And your supervisor tells you, yes, beta, good, because they actually read your paper. That is why they take time. They do proper peer review. That is why they take time. And you say, but man, there is another journal very fast. you know I actually sent them an email and they replied in 1 minute. Will you believe? They replied in 1 minute, not 1 year, not 1 millennia, but just 1 minute. The supervisor, oh, that's great. Do you have some context? Did they ask for some processing fee? Yes, ma'am. They asked for some processing fee, only 20,000 rupees. Early bird discount, early bird discount. And they said, actually, they gave me a big discount. They said, if I pay in the next 15 minutes, they will also give me Outstanding Young Visionary Scholar Award. Oh, and there is this fast track option where they will do peer review before you even submit your article. Fast tracking. And for that, you have to pay 25,000 extra. And then there is another option called Tatkal. Tatkal fee is 50K, but then confirmed publication. No waiting list. You are not RAC, reservation against cancellation, nothing of the sort. Never on waiting list. Your seat is confirmed. Confirmed publication. Tatkal. Should I send that paper to that journal? And so I'm thinking, what should I do? Where should I send it? And because I know that none of my colleagues from my department have published anything ever in their life, I think, okay, I know one student, one friend from the Department of Economics, let us say economics, who has a number of Scopus publications to his credit. So it makes sense to ask him, right? Uh, Lakshmi ma'am, don't say economics people are fraudulent. There are a couple of economics people. I know you didn't mean that. Yeah, yeah. So of course. Where should you send it? You ask your friend, bro, please tell me, because I want to start my publishing journey in a proper way. I want to publish this article, and so please, please, please tell me where I can publish this journal, some Scopus indexed, some Web of Science journal, please suggest. And he suggests you the Quarterly Journal of Economics, Quarterly Journal of Economics, he says, because it is a highly reputed journal with a double-digit impact factor, high impact factor, excellent peer review process, everything is good with that journal. Will it be good if I send my article to that journal, the Quarterly Journal of Economics? What is the paper? Environmental Concerns in Indian Novels. And that I am sending it to which journal? The Journal of Economics. It will be like submitting a mango to a coconut competition. And the mango will be told, please grow harder and develop a shell and have some water inside. You know, So you go home and do some Google search, and and soon you receive an email. You just did some Google search, but you receive an email from International Interdisciplinary Journal. Okay, good. And then you open that email and it says International Interdisciplinary Journal of everything under, over, and inside the sun and moon. That is the title of the journal that publishes everything from dental surgery to unparliamentary jokes in the Indian Parliament. They will publish everything. And Nirvana, finally, I found where my paper should be sent to. I submit my paper. Within 1 minute, 17 seconds, I get the reply. Congratulations. Your groundbreaking, earthquaking research has been accepted by this path-breaking journal after a rigorous peer review process. One minute, so many seconds. That is the time taken. Of course, you are happy. But of course, you attended Manu sir's class on how to submit and where not to submit. So you know that you have to check the authenticity of the journal by looking at the journal's website and the editorial board. Only after that, even if you get an approval, even then you should submit it only after you check the website and the editorial board. So you know that. So what do? You go to the website and you check the editorial details. So editor in chief, Dr. Sherlock Holmes. And then it goes Dr. Sherlock Holmes, BA, MA, MSc, B.Ed, M.Ed, LLB, LIC, HDFC, MCOM, B Farm, M Farm, Animal Farm, M Tech from WhatsApp University, MBBS, D Lit, ISO 9001 certified, DOI, ISSN, ISBN, API, and H indexed. My goodness, so many qualifications to such a person. He must be at least 1,000 years old to have so many degrees. And and you are happy that okay, you have a great chief editor, and you look at the associate editor's detail, and the associate editor's name itself is convincing. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes. Huh. Of course, it's a family business. Mrs. Sherlock Holmes is the associate editor, and the volume editors and the peer reviewers, father-in-laws, brother-in-law of Sherlock Holmes, Donald Trump's sister-in-law's mother-in-law. All these people are on the peer review board. And wonderful. And the journal's website says UGC care listed since 1947. Hmm? And it will continue to be UGC care listed until the sun becomes a black hole. Wonderful. Impact factor 99.99. Only Bratman is slightly better than our impact factor. Indexed in Sensex, and it is RBI regulated, no problems. And circulated all over the universe, all over Milky Way galaxy, and in collaborating galaxies as well. And then you know that Manu sir has said you should not stop there, even if the editorial board is convincing. There could be a chance that they may have just copied or recycled the editorial board from some other journal. So you have to verify, double cross check by looking at the table of contents and the articles that are published. So you look at the latest volume, current volume, volume 12, issue 4, and you are looking at the papers, and the papers are titled GDP growth and goat farming in the Indian Ocean, first paper. Second paper, sand extraction strategies for Sahara Desert. Third paper, the healing power of turmeric on blockchain markets, on cryptocurrency. Next paper, a comparative study of yogurts and yoga mudras. Wonderful things are going on. And the journal promises fast review, super fast review, 24 to 48 minutes based on whether you are having 3G, 4G, or 5G. Fast review. The journal guarantees publication. The journal also gives you a certificate with a golden border. And There is an optional best paper award. Of course, there is a small extra charge for maintenance purposes of the journal's website. See, this is the thing that is happening, and still we are sure what we are doing, right? Your paper, what does this paper actually deserve? It deserves reviewers who know things like what eco-criticism is, what environmental criticism means, what Indian English fiction says. These are the people who should be reviewing your article, not someone who is wondering, is Indian English poetry connected to poultry farming on the Indian Ocean? No, that is not what we want from the, as the qualification of the reviewer. Not at all. If a journal reviews your 8,000, 9,000 word paper in 12 minutes, either they are supernatural or you are the product being reviewed, or you are the product being reviewed. And this is what we have to understand. Do I want to be the fool? Do I want to be the product and feed them? Publishing is not about finding a journal, my dear friends. It is about finding your intellectual habitat. This is something that we have to, clearly, keep in our minds. It is your intellectual habitat. Go to the correct journal. Go to the right journal. Go to journals which follow the ethical practices. So, what is this obsession with journal ranking and indexing all about? Of course, we are told, let us speak honestly, we are told to publish only in journals indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, or UGC Care. And sometimes they will also tell you to publish in Q1, Q2, all those journals which have a higher impact factor. My dear friends, let us be clear, not everything indexed is good. Not everything unindexed is bad. No, that is, indexing is not a quality criteria. Indexing is a database. Indexing is a database, nothing else. It is not a moral certificate. You know, what we should be looking for is not the indexing of a journal. We should be looking for intellectual credibility. This is the thing we should look for in a journal. Ask, is the journal peer reviewed? These are the right questions to ask to know whether it's a good journal or not. Ask, is it peer reviewed? Are the articles published in this journal being cited elsewhere, which would tell you whether these articles are read or not? That is a simple strategy, and not exactly for humanities people, but people from sciences, people from social sciences can use this beautifully, because yeah, in humanities citations are not very strong, especially for articles, and only for books we have a lot of citations. But for social sciences, for sciences, article citation is a very important factor. So look at the articles published in the journal. Just copy the article title and go to Google, search it, and see how many citations that author has got, how many citations that paper has got. And of course, there are false metrics. Of course, citations can be falsely created as well. But overall, you will get a better picture. Are articles cited? The question to ask: who are on the editorial board? Are they genuine people? Of course, you have to check whether these people actually exist. Are these people somebody who have international editorial board, it says? And who are these international people? Yeah, our neighbor who just went to Indonesia because he could not find anything here, so he went to Indonesia, and he is the chief editor from Indonesia, Malaysia. This is the kind of editorial boards that we see in many of our journals. And see, understand, of course, we Indians are very nice. Our hospitality is super good. So we think if it is an Indian, not good. If it is a foreigner, it is good. Isn't it so? We have great regard for people from any other country. We don't have any regard for Indians. So these journals know this, and they make sure that they have somebody from some African Antarctican country as the chief editor. And not that they are bad, but you know, you look at their names and you will find that they are people who have gone there because, of course, for practical reasons, for job purposes, and they may not be half as good as some of our teachers may be, but they are international just because they have gone out. That's the simple thing. So who are on the editorial board? What are their titles? What are their actual qualifications? Are they good, capable people? Find, research. This is the research you have to do as well. you know Search about these people. Google what kind of articles do this journal publish. Are these articles good enough? Are these articles having some quality, or are they discussing trivial matters? And of course, ask, does my article belong into this journal, belong here? If a journal has the highest impact factor, but if no one in your field reads it, what impact is it having on you other than your CV thing? It is like delivering a brilliant speech to an empty hall, isn't it so? Why should we do that? My dear friends, yeah, let me stop it there and let us move to the next topic. Guess I have given you an idea. So, what are the things, what are the checks and balances we have to take care of before submitting a paper to a journal? First and foremost, we have to, something non-negotiable is ethical compliance. We have to ensure that the plagiarism check is done, and don't check on just another software, that free software available on the internet. I'm not marketing any software. What I'm saying is, you take some software on the internet and submit your article. How do you submit? You copy and paste, or you upload your article, and by the time they generate the plagiarism report, your article would be published in Africa or Antarctica by some XYZ. What is it? Simply stealing, and you have submitted it. Why do you want to allow them to steal? That is one problem. And most of these free softwares out there are not trustworthy. I mean, I'm not recommending anything, but I would suggest, these days Drillbit is doing a clean job. Otherwise, traditionally we have had, Turnitin and Urkund. Urkund is institutionally given to most institutions, have Urkund access in their libraries. Go to your library. I'm sure that this conference, this event itself is organized in collaboration with the library, and Duma ma'am can give us insights on how and where and this thing happens, how the librarian comes to be the custodian of Urkund software, and whether we have to pay money for it, whether we have to do something else. I'm sure this is the thing. But nowhere people asks money. Yes, there are people who ask money as well. Corruption is there everywhere, and we are good at it. But then the point is, Urkund software, that is the best option I would suggest. Turnitin is an option if you want an individual subscription, but Turnitin is gone all over the country. That is why, what I understand. Because why? Because none of us have bought the original software. All of us. I am using the thing that they distribute. 5,000 rupees per year, and student, you get a student account and it is shared. That is how we get things done. There are some agencies and people who give it at very subsidized costs for a SciFest, and that is how I have got my subscription. But then things are not good, and they don't have AI access these days. So think what software you want to use and all, but make sure that you don't get fooled. Second thing, ensure that there is no data fabrication or manipulation. Never do any manipulation, never do any fabrication in your research. These are big crimes. See, formatting errors, plagiarism, APA style, MLA style, those are smaller sins. But these are bigger sins. And these are things that we should never be having. Plagiarism one, fabrication and manipulation two, and we should also ensure that we make an honest representation of our sources, our arguments, and the tools that we AI use, especially if any, must be transparent and declared. These are the basic ethical compliance things that we need to ensure before we submit an article to a paper. Then, secondly, submission guidelines verbatim. Let me tell you, friends, many articles, I mean, many of us are on the editorial boards or review committees of multiple journals, and we see that 60 to 70 percent of submissions get rejected because they don't follow the submission guidelines. So go through the submission guidelines carefully, and take a pen and paper and tick, okay, have I done this, have I done this. Make sure that everything is followed to the word. Journal and conference guidelines are binding contracts. They are not just some suggestions that you can follow, they are must. So check carefully what the word limit is. Check details on formatting. Check details on font and spacing. Maybe we think that what is the big deal about font, you can just change it. No, but no, if it is Times New Roman, it has to be Times New Roman, nothing else. Spacing 1.5 or 1, whatever it is, double space. Do the. I can see that there are questions in the chat box, but we will come back to that once the session is over. Of course, we'll finish a little early so that we can address these questions since today is the last day. So, font and spacing, citation style. Another thing that if they say you have to follow APA, you have to follow APA, nothing else. File format, what format? If they say you have to submit as a PDF, it should be a PDF. If they say docx, docx, doc, you know, even one ignored instruction can lead to desk rejection. Journal desk will reject it. And there are some commonly ignored but crucial formatting issues, my dear friends. Say, for example, don't use full capitals for whatever you want to do. If it is a quotation and if there are full capitals, fine. Otherwise, don't use full capitals to highlight something. Only use full capitals for acronyms, apart from whatever is there in within quotes. UGC, yes, full capitalization is fine. NASA, full capitalization is fine, but not for highlighting or inviting the attention. Always make sure that after every punctuation mark there is a space. This may appear very silly, very foolish, childish even, but these auto vetter softwares that these journals use immediately reject. Amita, thank you. You know it because you are in ICF, I guess, copy editors, forum, and knows it, how things are. Yes, yes. So they will tell you what these automated softwares can do. After a punctuation mark, whether it is a comma, semicolon, full stop, colon, put a comma, put a space compulsorily. Never put a space before a punctuation mark. Never put a space before a punctuation mark. The only this thing that you have which has a space before is the opening bracket. Nothing else. Punctuation marks are foolproof. There is no punctuation mark which needs a space before it. Clear. Never use double space. Taka, 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 taka. Don't do that. I need some space. Let it go to the other side. We have to indent. Taka, 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 taka. You are sitting on the space bar. Don't do that. Never double space. Never put the enter key to go to the next page. Silly things. More than 3 enter keys and this automated softwares will reject your paper. Formatting error, it will say, nothing else. 3 enter keys consecutively and your paper will get rejected. Important things, but silly things as well, but never do that. If you have to go to the next page, use page break. Unless it is automatically taking you to the next page, typing and going, it is fine. Otherwise, if you have to go to the next page, use a page break. Learn this word, Microsoft Word, what they call page break, section break, line break. What are these things? How to do it? Learn these things. So then never manipulate margins or font size to meet word counts or page counts. 5 pages. Oh, mine is only 3 pages. So let me increase the margin and increase the font size so that 3 pages becomes 6 pages. No, no, not at all. See, consistency is important. If you are using a font, keep the same font and same font size throughout, unless otherwise specified by the journal. Um, then what about bold? Not whether you are bold, but the bold in Microsoft Word. Where should we use? Bold should be used only for titles and subheadings only. And what about italics? Italics exclusively for titles of books, journals, published works. Some people comfortably make all quotations italicized, or wherever they want to add emphasis, they will just italicize. No, it is not our ancestral property to use italics wherever we want. Not at all. Titles of books, titles of journals, published works, you can italicize. Nothing else. Underline. Yeah, I do it on my paper, so I will do it on my paper in the computer as well. Don't underline anything. Avoid entirely, except automatic hyperlinks. And yes, when you copy text from some internet sources, it may contain hidden links. And to find out that, you remove formatting and it will become something with an underline and a hyperlink. So how to remove that hyperlink? I'm not recommending you to copy things from the internet, but sometimes a name or something, say for example, you need some diacritical mark, Giles Deleuze or something, you want to have that diacritical mark as well. So you copy from the internet. Make sure that you right click and remove the hyperlink. Otherwise, hidden hyperlinks raise plagiarism alerts. Big problem. Turn it in such softwares. Have a plagiarism alert when there are hidden hyperlinks. Then, what about co-authorship? Only include genuine contributors. Yes, my university has a rule that you should give the name of the supervisor, then the supervisor's grandson. I don't know. Yes, your university may have rules and you fight it out with your supervisor, but it is not ethical. That is all I know. Only include genuine contributors, and whichever university tells you to include your supervisor's name just because he or she is the supervisor is giving you a wrong guideline, because that is not the correct thing to do. Yes, you have to give the name of the supervisor if the supervisor has done something in connection with that paper. But just because he is the supervisor, he should not be having a co-authorship to all the papers you publish in the next 10 years, because you'll take 10 years to finish your PhD. Right? So, no. Do not lend or borrow authorship. And this is the biggest business. First author, second author, third author, 25th author, 250th author, all these authorships are sold first. And it is, people, I don't know whether it is lack of understanding, like is it whether it is ignorance or carelessness, or whether they don't care at all, because even in academic groups people have no shame in posting such messages. I have written a paper and I have written a paper, it is ready for publication, and I'm looking for 10 author positions. So if you need, you can pay 5,000 and get an authorship. My dear friends, please let us have some basic dignity. Don't do it. Then there is something called email etiquette. you know don't copy your entire paper onto the email. No, while submitting, never copy paste. Instead, attach it as a file unless otherwise specified. Then another thing you can do is to create an ORCID ID, ORCID, Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It helps with tracking and attribution of your papers correctly. It is free, just a 2-minute thing, and you can create an ORCID. Also, a Google Scholar profile helps if you are interested. So this is what I would say. So technical negligence, formatting errors, ethical oversights, these are the reasons for the rejection of a vast majority of papers, not something to do with research methodology or something, not at all. So, but they may not tell you, your paper is rejected, formatting error. That's all they may tell you, but you never know what that formatting error is. So keep in mind all these things. So what about this H index and impact factor? What are these big terms? These metrics are increasingly being imposed on researchers in India. And I use the word imposed. Please understand that these metrics are not something universally accepted or not something moral or ethical. These metrics are commercially produced. This is business. These metrics are designed primarily for the sciences. not for social sciences, not at all for humanities. These metrics, H index, impact factor, not at all for the humanities, partly for social sciences, strictly for the sciences and pure sciences only. You know, these metrics are structurally misaligned with humanities scholarship. Trust me, it is. And I will explain why. And these metrics are frequently misused by our universities and institutions as universal benchmarks. They give you the impression that this is the you know this the most sanctified way to publish your research, to have an journal with an impact factor and you have a high H index and you're a great researcher. Not at all. Unfortunately, many of us live like frogs in the well. It is high time we know, high time we understand, high time we question. A small set of powerful stakeholders define quality numerically today. They say that these numbers matter. They tell you, they promote metric based evaluation. They profit from compliance and fear and your helplessness. What will you do? They say that you have to publish in such and such journal, otherwise your PhD viva will not happen. What will you do? It's your helplessness. And so we are forced to do unethical things. We are forced to pay 20,000 or 40,000 or 50,000 to get our article published. Yes, people who have money can do it. What about research scholars who don't have funding? What about people coming from financially weak? Even teachers. Don't think that every teacher is rich or every teacher is getting a 6-digit salary. Not at all. Think of guest lecturers, people on contract. Nothing. So how are they going to survive in this culture? The core problem today is academic life is increasingly governed by numbers rather than knowledge. And it is a tragedy, complete tragedy, something that was set off since 2000, I would say 2013, 14. Until then, teaching jobs and academics were somewhat okay place. But after that, UGC came up with this idea of publication as a requirement, and after that, this business has really boomed. And you cannot imagine the kind of things that these people are doing. So, who controls these metrics, my dear friends? Any idea who does these things? Two giants are there, Clarivate and Elsevier, two big businesses like whether you call it Reliance or Adani or Ambani. We have a problem with Adani, Ambani, and everybody. We say that they are corporates, giants, do these things. But what about this Clarivate and Elsevier? Sir, but we don't do anything with Clarivate and Elsevier. Is it so? Then what about Web of Science? What about Scopus? Because Clarivate owns Web of Science, and Clarivate is not a charity agency. It is not an NGO. It is a pakka business where people are making money, nothing else. And Clarivate produces journal citations, JCR, according to which these numbers are calculated. It is for profit, not charity. What about Elsevier? Elsevier owns Scopus. It publishes thousands of journals. Major beneficiary of APC based publishing is this Elsevier. They make money from the article processing charges that we pay, and they are making huge billions of dollars. These are businesses, not academic bodies. And my dear friends, journals indexed under arts and humanities, what is it? Arts and Humanities Citation Index, AHCI, Arts and Humanities Citation Index. None of these journals receive impact factors. Trust me, I will explain why. Clarivate, which owns Web of Science, it acknowledges within its website, check the Clarivate website, and it acknowledges in not in bold font, but in the question, frequently asked question section in a very small font, they have done it. They acknowledge that humanities citation patterns differ. It is like what Lord Krishna asked Yudhishthira to do. Yeah, they could not kill Ashwatthama's father Drona. And so Lord Krishna said, Yudhishthira said, no, I will not tell a lie. Krishna said, forget your lies and truth stuff. Do one thing, bro, you go there and say the truth, but reduce your voice. So he said, Ashwatthama Hada Kunja. That elephant Ashwatthama was killed. And poor Drona thought, okay, his son Ashwatthama, and you know the story. So this is what they do. Because there is a court order, they put it in their website, but in very small font, the way terms and conditions are written, or the way subject to market risks advertisements play on our television screens. Impact factor is not calculated for AHCI, Arts and Humanities Citation journals, because the metric is unsuitable. This is the simple logic, because citation is not how research works in arts and humanities. Simple logic. It has nothing to do with the quality of work. So some people say, yeah, okay, you don't have impact factor, you don't have citations, site score, so you are doing bad research. Not at all. It doesn't mean the work lacks value. It simply means the metric, the system is unsuitable for arts and humanities. This is the reality. So if so, how do humanities, arts and humanities journals with impact factor appear? How? How does it happen? There are journals, many journals, arts and humanities journals with very high impact factors. So common factors include: one, they use fake impact factors. Impact factor is, something that we call impact factor is generated only by a particular system. But I can also create a system where I say that I can evaluate your impact factor, and then I will give impact factor, and I will give you a certificate also. Your journal take 20 as impact factor, your journal take 90. So the best impact factor in the best journals like Nature and others will have somewhere between 11 and 12, and our journals have 20 and 30. Yesterday started, not a single paper published, and impact factor is 20 and 30. Copernicus, he said XYZ. The kind of things that these people say. They use fake impact metrics, and Indian journals are the best examples. Most Indian journals do this. Not all, of course, not all. Another way they do it is by claiming interdisciplinary impact factors. And how do they do it? They claim that they publish science articles in their journals. Arts and humanities journals, by hook or crook, they publish science journals, science articles. Of course, these papers will generate citations. And so, based on that, they will have an impact factor. But are they doing the right thing? No. Are they doing something criminal? Yes, because when a journal is given ISSN number, the ISSN agency clearly says that you should stick to the scope of the journal. So if an arts and humanities journal keeps on publishing science papers, they are doing something criminal. And another way they do it is by paying for dubious indexing. They do some malpractices to get fake citations and all, and that is also how they do it. Of course, there are some legitimate ways also to get some impact factor, because it counts. Yes, arts and humanities articles also get citation. It's not that they don't get citation, but it will be like very trivial. The impact factor cannot go above 1 or 2 maximum. That is what I believe, whatever I understand. The best journals also that publishing the best arts and humanities papers also will not have more than 2 as an impact factor. So such claims that these journals give are often misleading, commercially motivated, and of course ethically questionable. And so who is the victim, or who suffers? We, researchers. Mandatory Scopus and Web of Science requirements mean that a researcher in India today, not in India Today magazine, a researcher in India today has to spend approximately 5 lakh to 6 lakh rupees to complete his or her PhD. This is a reality. And what is it? What trash is it? And people, recently one university in Tamil Nadu, from Tamil Nadu, they said, we will not accept your, people, everybody paid and published their articles in Web of Science and Scopus Index journals. Of course, all fake journals, but still they got published. They were getting ready for PhD, and the university said that you should give the reviewers comments also. You should upload the reviewers comments also in the university's website for your paper to be approved. So what happened? All these people who spend lakhs of rupees to get their papers published in Scopus and Web of Science got their papers removed, because of course these are fake journals, but these are of course popularized and given by these universities themselves, because their own professors are on the editorial boards and getting commission, big money from these journals. So they are doing it, but then not taking any names, but I'm saying this is the sad reality. And it places severe financial burden on our scholars, our contract faculty, our first generation academics. It's bad. It's bad. It is evil. you know think of the ethical and policy implications. Applying science based metrics to humanities and social sciences is conceptually flawed, ethically unjust, and academically irresponsible. This is the reality. Okay. So what? What can we do? Can we do anything? No. I have been saying this for the last 5 6 years and nothing is happening. And I know how foolish I am when I am talking these things. Many of these ideas I'm repeating, and it is I'm no longer pained. Apathy. Neither you feel a kind of numbness. Nothing happens, because will we unite? Will we revolt? Will we be ready to set aside our selfishness? No. No, I will get my paper published and my PhD done, then I can side with you, all those things. And once I get my PhD, oh, we people did great research to publish our papers in Scopus and Web of Science. You idiots don't know how to publish. That is why you are not getting any publications. We all published without paying a single penny, because journals were waiting in a long queue at our houses asking for papers, because we are great researchers. That is how many PhD holders change after they get a PhD. And so the fate, the condition is never improving. There is a global resistance to metric absolutism. I don't know how many of us are aware of it, but there is growing global consensus against metric fetishism across Europe and North America. The universities have challenged subscription pricing. Institutions are demanding open access reforms. Faculty bodies and faculty groups have questioned metric dominance. What is happening here? We are celebrating. We are celebrating all these things. And major bodies, major scholarly agencies and universities in the West, in Europe and North America, they emphasize qualitative assessment, peer judgment, context sensitive evaluation. And think of two major things. One is the San Francisco Declaration on DORA. It is called DORA, San Francisco Declaration on Research Assessment. It is a global initiative which was launched in 2012, which argues that research quality should not be just judged simply based on some impact factor and stuff. It calls for evaluating research based on its own inherent merit rather than on where it is published. Simple thing, simple logic. DORA, you can Google or check on ChatGPT and you can find out the details. I'm not going into the details. Then there is something called the Leiden Manifesto, Leiden, Leiden Manifesto of 2015. It is a set of 10 clearly laid out beautiful principles responsible use of research metrics. Read and find out. I'm not going into its details. It basically emphasizes expert qualitative judgment over quantitative metrics. Quantitative metrics may work in certain subjects and certain limited areas, but no, it is not a universal thing. Understand this. And I don't know what you should do about it, because nobody is doing anything. And One or two people here and there cannot make a revolution, I think. So is it okay to pay and publish then? What is the ethics and what is the reality? Ideally, knowledge should circulate free. Knowledge dissemination, we call it. Authors should not be forced to buy back their own work. Only dentists and journals do that. They pluck our tooth and extract our tooth, and they keep it, and then we have to pay them money. Similarly, we submit a journal and a paper to a journal, and then for keeping that, we have to give them money. Same thing. Only these two are non systems where you give and you give more to keep for them to keep it. This is a valid moral position to say that I will not pay money, but then the contemporary practical reality is very different. It's almost impossible these days to publish anything without payment. you know Publish, and people even publish creative writing in journals for as research. Please understand, publishing creative research writing in journals do not count as research output. It does not help in promotion. It does not improve your CAS or PhD evaluation, nothing. So some journals even make money by publishing your poems and all, and they will give you certificates also, of course. So, what then is a legitimate, genuine charge, or what is reasonable charge for publishing? See, some legitimate good journals charge article processing charges to cover, say, for example, website. They have to maintain the website. So for that, hosting, they call it, hosting and whatever it is. So for that, they have to spend some money, and it is, they have to somehow generate the money. Editorial management is there. Peer reviewers sometimes have to be paid for, proper peer reviews and all. So all these take time, take effort, sometimes need money. So uh, the key distinction that we need to make is charging money itself is not predatory. What makes something predatory? Charging money without genuine peer review is predatory, and charging disproportionately is also predatory. So it should have some proportion, something should be reasonable, and they should do proper pakka peer reviewing. What is this peer predatory journal? What is a predatory journal? I'm sure we are hearing this term. It's a fake, unethical academic journal that pretends to be authentic, legitimate, but exists with the sole purpose of making money from authors. They publish your article without doing any real peer review or without any proper evaluation. They will send you emails. Dear esteemed professor, we are impressed by your outstanding research profile. You are the true Albert Einstein of India. And we are thinking, okay, finally somebody has realized who I really am. The truth has finally come out. And to honor your contributions to global warming, nanotechnology, COVID dissemination, fuzzy mathematics, smallpox detection, prevention of terrorism, etc., we offer you fast track publication for your next research paper. Submit within 3 days. Trust me, reputed good journals never chase authors. They don't do that. So, what are the characteristics of predatory journals? They do aggressive marketing, sometimes through email, WhatsApp, Facebook, even through our professors and supervisors. Always understand that guru is not always a safe word anymore. Gurus are not safe. Another characteristic of predatory journals: quick acceptance, guaranteed publication. Another, no peer review or very little peer review, no feedback given, heavy fees. They will publish almost anything, and sometimes your article will disappear. Sometimes the journal itself will disappear into thin air. They will have dummy editorial boards or recycled editorial boards. They may have vague or hidden policies. I will, don't worry about writing these things down if anybody is, because I will give you where you can find all these details systematically to find it. So don't worry, I'll give you the details in the group itself. Don't worry. So these journals will have fake metrics, impact factor, and everything will be fake. And who are the people who give them the metrics? Check that, and that will also be a cute way of finding out what a fake journal is. Then they will have misleading UGC approved claims. One of the famous journals in English studies in India still has as an attachment which says UGC approved journal, and not going into the details. And then they will have special issues, last date extended messages in WhatsApp groups. Know that last date extended is sometimes a strategy, because they can post it again and again and again until they get sufficient journals, sufficient money for a volume. Not all the last date extensions are like that, but some are. So these are some of the traits of bad journals. So what are the traits of good humanities or social sciences journals? Most often they take time. 6 to 9 months for review is reasonable. Careful revisions, rigorous peer review, reviewers' comments. How many of us have published but ever received reviewers' comments? How many, we may have 100 papers, but for how many papers have we received detailed reviewers' comments and multiple rounds of feedback and requests for revisions and resubmissions? If you aren't receiving anything, it doesn't mean you are the best researcher in the country or the world. It simply means you have submitted to a predatory fake journal which is not doing any peer review. Because if there is peer review, whether it is double blind or fully blind, they will give you the review reports and things like that. They will have clear rejection and revision policies and processes, and they will now inform the decision whether to publish or to reject based on clear logical reasoning. There is no guarantee of acceptance in such journals. Often slow because quality takes time. Well laid out editorial policies they have, editorial details they have, the contact details of the publishers, contact details of the editorial board members will all be given on the website. There will be clear details on artistical processing charges or fees on the editorial board as well. In the editorial board, you may sometimes find the publisher himself or herself as editor-in-chief. Not always it is a bad thing, but sometimes. Sometimes it is an indicator that it is a predatory journal because it is a business. Not always. There are very good journals where the publisher and chief editor are the same people, but there is no problem. Say, for example, Nasrullah Mambrol, his literariness, he has his literariness has started a journal. He is the chief editor of the journal, and he is the publisher of the journal as well. But the kind of quality mandate that man keeps. He lives for researchers, and that is the kind of dedication that we want to see from people. So all these things, but there are fake journals which have family run boards. I gave you those examples: father, mother, brother, sister, everybody is on the editorial board. One person managing many journals, that too from different disciplines. Clear indication that something is terribly wrong with the journal. Editors listed across unrelated disciplines. A person who is an expert not only in mathematics but also in physics and literature and social sciences. Something is wrong. Always Google the names of these editors and verify their affiliations. Lot of clues are there. This is how everybody finds fake journals. Multiple unrelated journals, and there are so many things. I'll tell you where you can find these details, and I want you to do it yourself rather than make somebody else do it. Never send a question to somebody saying, sir, can you please check whether it is a good journal or not? Do it yourself. Do it yourself using your own reason and intellect and logic. So is free publishing possible? Technically, yes. And that is where we talk about diamond open access journals. No, it is not DOAJ proper, because DOAJ is Directory of Open Access Journals. It includes both gold open access and diamond open access. What is the difference? Gold open access is journals that charge APC, article processing charge. Diamond open access is journals that do not charge article processing charges. So diamond access, one way to find out these journals, journals that are diamond open access journals are free to read and free to publish. Both parties find it free, fully free, nothing else. So my final takeaway is, not all paid journals are predatory, but All predatory journals prioritize payment over quality or scholarship. You can understand if you are sensible, if you apply your mind to it, through the process itself you will know whether they are fake or genuine. It doesn't require superhuman intelligence to find out. Informed researchers, let me tell you, informed researchers are the strongest defense against exploitation. And I want you to, if you have learned something from this lecture, how to identify something and know what is fake and predatory, give it to others, share that knowledge, and enable your friends also to do this rather than, um, you know, not do it. Yeah, so that is it. Now, where can we find these details? I will suggest a few websites where I will share the links in the group so that you don't have to. One is predatoryjournals.org. They went through a lot of trouble. They were harassed, lot of problems. They were threatened, but even now they are threatened. But now what they have done is they have created a new website, and there they haven't given any contact details, so they have kept it complete secret. So at the moment, those people are safe. Predatoryjournals.org, a trustworthy website for list of predatory publishers and journals. No, they don't insist that all those journals are fake 100%. No, of course, you use your logic and also to find out. And I would suggest one entry in Wikipedia to know almost everything about predatory publishing. Just search predatory publishing. That is the title of the article. Just search predatory publishing in Wikipedia, and the page that opens, read it from the beginning to the end, and you will almost know everything that you need to know about predatory publishing. Then another website is dealslist.net. It is a famous list. That poor person, how he was harassed and what sufferings and torments this person went through, we know. So it is useful as well. Predatory hyphen publishing.com, that is a good website as well. It seems genuine. I'm not sure about who are behind it and all, but it seems genuine. So what I would suggest is, unless you are sure about it, don't trust anything else. Why? Because predators themselves have such websites and lists. You know, the best and the easiest to navigate UGC care lists have been circulated in the groups by predatory publishers. They make their own lists and include their journal in that PDF file that is circulated as a safe journal. And we fools, we will circulate this list to all our friends, and all of us will publish. And the next new year we hear that such a journal does not exist at all, and we all lost money. It is cloned, it is fake, it is predatory. All those problems happen. So don't trust. Be cynical. This industry is big, bad, dirty industry. Be 100% cynical. Don't trust even your parents when it comes to publishing. Sorry for saying that. So, Retraction Watch is another website that you can refer, not for lists as such, but it is a really useful website that helps you stay updated on what is going on. It is useful, and you will become more sensible and more literate, academically literate people if you follow this website, retractionwatch.com. It's a watchdog platform reporting retracted. You can find it. I don't have to explain it. So this is where I wind up this lecture. It is 8:35. Yeah, not bad. Considering my issues with time, it is not bad. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here and being so patient, being so kind. Thanks to, I have to give a word of thanks. Of course, we will have an interactive session Q&A after this, but I need to thank a few people definitely, especially the participants. Also, everyone who texted me personally asking questions. I know that I haven't replied to many of you, but I promise you that I will reply, if not today, in the days to come, surely. So thank you for your patience in advance. So some of you have poured your kind and generous words of appreciation for the sessions. Some have told me very blatantly, Ravi ma'am told me, sir, you just wasted a lot of time yesterday discussing that methods and methodology. Honest. I also felt the same. And you called a spade, nothing wrong with it. And she said, I love your lectures and all, but yesterday it was trash. She's smiling. She's sitting there and smiling. She said, you wasted a lot.
I never said it that they are trash.
I say it is trash. I know it was because I wasted a lot of time. I know that. So thanks to all of you. To everyone who interacted and made these sessions lively, who will make the interaction lively today as well. And especially, I'm extremely grateful to these kind souls who have turned their videos on wherever and whenever possible. I'm extremely grateful because I know that I am only as good as the people who turn their videos on, because I am a zero when I don't find people and their responses. And so thank you a big bunch to Deepthi is here. She was there on camera all the time throughout. Thank you so much. Alakananda, Lakshmi ma'am, Priyanka Kulhari ma'am, Shalin, there were other people as well. Maumita was there, Selma, Punita was there, Dr. Punita, Priyanka ma'am is already here. Then who else? Snehadeep was there, Shalin is here, of course. AMR was there, Meera Jacob, Chaitanya, Miss Chaitanya, what was the name? Monica, Shamna, Advait, then Tanushri, then who else? Yeah, Ravi ma'am, I will not say again. Ankita, Rehmatunnisa with that, name and all. My brilliant young friend, Mr. Devadatta. I will get back to you today or tomorrow, my dear friend. Shiv Shankar sir, Lakshmi, Subhashri, Soumya ma'am. I mean, I cannot recall all the names, but thank you all for all the Devadatta. Thank you for that love, heart. So, and also special thanks to our librarian Duma ma'am. She was also here, and you know, to have her here was, it was like having a gatekeeper, to control our proceedings, and somebody who knows and does things, because librarians have that special skill. Special thanks to you, ma'am. And of course, the entire organizing team from St. Dominic's College, Kanjirapalli, and, the Department of English headed by Professor Juno Jose, close, a classmate of my sister's, and Juno's team of young Turks, and not to forget our dear beloved coordinator, my good friend and one of my finest students ever, a well loved teacher now, Mr. Professor Harry C. Joseph. So thank you all, and over to you organizers to the interactive session. Okay, Shampavi says my humor was cherry on top. Thank you, thank you. Keep all the cherries. Yes. Then could you explain the difference between? No, Bhuvaneshwari ma'am, I'm not the best person to explain multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. You can just, it's not our concern today or in this workshop. So let us look at questions from. Is there a difference between peer-reviewed and refereed journals? Yes, these words are used. Soumya ma'am asked, is there a difference between peer-reviewed and refereed journals? More or less, they are the same. They are used interchangeably in at least our academic parlance. Yes, we talk about peer-reviewed, we talk about refereed journals. Then we have this word blind peer-reviewed, and sometimes it is double-blind peer-reviewed. Doesn't mean that only blind people are reviewing your papers. It simply, blind peer-reviewed means they know who you are, but you don't know who they are. And double blind means both parties don't know who is reviewing and whose paper it is. That seriously, that is what double blind peer reviewing is. So yeah, that is it, Amit. So which kind of journals for social sciences, humanities are considered high quality ones, if not the metrics ones? I guess I have answered that question. Journals which do proper peer reviewing, journals which have a proper editorial policy, preferably journals don't, an Indian journal that charges more than 2000 rupees for publishing an article online, an online publishing for more than 2000, I would call it predatory, because they're charging extra money. What is that big deal of expense? No, it's not acceptable. And I look at this Nasrullah, and in his website, in his journal, newly started, but there he mentions that it is 1500. So I trust him blindly, and I can tell you that if he says it is 1500, that is the maximum. I mean, that is the reasonable cost involved, because he's a one-man army doing a lot of wonderful things for the academy. And so these are certain things that we have to look at the journal's website, what their strategies are, what their policies are, what their goals are. Look at the archives, look at the articles that were published in the previous volumes. All these will give you the, I never want to say that this journal is the best. It is always in a state of flux. It will keep on changing, it will keep evolving. I remember in 2021 I conducted a 30 days workshop during COVID break. I conducted a workshop on research methodology. Another workshop is coming up next month or the next month. 30 days workshop on detailed research, but of course for arts and humanities people only. So when I was conducting that workshop, I said Rupkatha is a very good journal. I recommended it to everybody, and I was so happy that I knew some of the people working with the journal and all. And next year, I realized that they are taking a lot of money from different places, and the very next year they got removed from UGC care list. And then they said it is UGC is not a care list, it is a careless list, the journal said. But now they are coming back to the fold and doing good things, I hear. I'm not sure. So things change. I don't want to take the names of any journal. Good journals can become bad journals overnight. Bad journals can become good journals overnight as well. It's the human conscience. Whoever is controlling the journal that decides whether it should be good or bad, whether they want money or whether they want to, perpetrate good values and quality research. Then Swati ma'am asks, nowadays majority of the journals shifted to drill bit. Yes, they have, because of the problems with, journals may not immediately have access to Urkund, of course, and Turnitin's AI feature is not good. That I can assure you, it is not good, not up to the mark by any standards. So yeah, people are using Drillbit. The AI check is not that accurate, but the university shifted to that. Yes, you are absolutely right. Most universities in India, especially, have shifted to Drillbit, for paid software, because it is manageable. Turnitin's prices, like, they kill you. The kind of prices, and they don't mention it anywhere. Check their website and see the business. They never say. They say, we will give you a quote once you contact us personally. What is this big deal? What is the secret about the pricing of a software? Then Ravi ma'am asks, for our personal use, which is reasonably priced plagiarism software we can buy. Personal use, I used to recommend Turnitin until recently, but now I don't, because when it comes to AI, if it is for simple plagiarism check, Turnitin will work, and you can get it for 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 from. Of course, make sure you buy it from the right people, because Indians, Pakistanis are all there, and don't trust Indians first, and Pakistanis are more trustworthy. That is my experience. So lot of fake people are out there. Be careful. But at least you can be sure that you are losing only 4,000, 5,000, not 40,000 and 50,000. Trial and error. IFS used to give accounts, but they have also stopped recently because of the issues with Turnitin, and they are closing such accounts and all. So I don't have anything to suggest. There is nothing that a common man, Aam Aadmi cannot, not Aam Aadmi party member, a common man from India nowadays cannot afford a single plagiarism checking, good plagiarism checking software. That is what I understand. Priyanka ma'am asked Turnitin from our library. Should I stress the word our library, or should I stress from our library, or is it Turnitin from our library? Yes, from your library, your own library. Give it a try, and librarian at least might be, good librarians know all these things, and they will tell you what is the situation, and they are the best people to guide us on these matters. Good librarians are a big thing. I remember Jassy from Kerala. He was a pioneer and a path-breaking librarian who started thinking about these things even before we never knew anything about journal metrics and API score and stuff. He was a person who mastered these things. So librarians, I recently went to Regional Institute of English in Bangalore. I forgot the name of that head librarian ma'am, but I talked to her for 10 minutes and I felt that I am in the presence of greatness. That is the kind of knowledge that these librarians possess, because they live the best lives, right? They live with books. They live in the company of books, day in and day out, and that's wonderful. So, from our library, Priyanka, yes, Animal Fam, fraudulence, yes. I think I have answered everything, or Mm, practical side of academic trends. Thank you. I
Okay.
asked about any affordable and reliable. Okay. Apart from, yes, Harry, yes.
Yeah, so if anyone have any specific questions, you can raise now, apart from what you have put in the chat box.
Well, I mean, Sri B asked last question. Other than whatever we discussed, whatever editorial board persons in that journal, what concrete signs show that a literature journal has strong and transparent peer review? Okay, strong and transparent peer review. How to know when they do peer review? That is the best time to know whether they have strong peer review, because they will do peer review, they will take time, of course, but they will get back to you with the peer review reports, their suggestions and whatever it is. They will come with detailed reports, and of course run those plagiarism and those reports also on some software to check whether that is AI generated. But the point is, they will come up with good suggestions, good corrections. One thing I can assure you is these fake journals, predatory journals, don't worry about this thing at all, because they don't even spend the time to take a report from some AI and send you the report and say that here is the review report, because they believe in money only. So they won't even do that gimmick of generating some fake review as well. So if they are sending you reviews and review reports and they ask you to modify and resubmit, I have resubmitted an article 16 times in 2014, 15, 16. 4 5 years it took, and I didn't get published in that journal. That is the other side of the story. It is not a happy story. But one thing that happened, I can assure you, is those 16 not rejections, partial rejections or requests for modifications helped me become a better researcher. And many things I learned about research and research writing and publishing came from the reviews I got. And you are getting reviews from excellent people, excellent people. Some of the finest people on that subject are giving you reviews, and then you know that this is serious business, and that will help you grow. So you will get that, they will communicate the editorial decisions properly and in a time is an ingredient, my dear friends. If you want overnight publication, if you want to publish tomorrow, next week, next month, most likely you're not going to get a good journal. So this is what I would say.
Sir, Priyanka and Sneha have raised their hands. So first we go with Priyanka and then Sneha.
Um, Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Sir,
Please go ahead.
sir, it's regarding the conference proceedings. Like we like submit our papers for a presentation and then they publish it. So like, should we go for that because that is also one of the type of publication? So what's your suggestion on that?
Definitely. I mean, I believe that that is more trustworthy than these journals. It is like believing in a God who you cannot see and believing in your parents who you can see. I will go with the parents who you can see, right? So the point is, it is an actual conference. You are presenting that paper, and when you present that paper, you get feedback from the chair. And I know that these are all gimmicks now. 5 minutes, 4 minutes, you introduce your name and you introduce the name of the college and time over, but that is not what I mean. Good conferences, you get ample time to publish, I mean present your paper, and you will get feedback, and they will not ask you to submit your full paper before, or that is not what they will publish, because that is not how it should be done. Full paper should be published, you should be given ample time after the conference to submit your full paper, because you should be able to incorporate the changes and modifications suggested, the insights that you gleaned from the conference itself. All these things have to, you have to embroider your paper and make it more meaningful and more sensible and more accurate from all these insights. So I am always for conference proceedings, and I haven't gone for journals for my personal purpose. I haven't gone for journals the last many years because I don't have a lot of money to pay for publishing, and I don't have to show it anywhere as well. So that is one advantage that I have, because I am, uh, erihon nowhere and everywhere. I don't have to worry about API score or anything. So that helps me. But the point is, uh, good conferences that publish in, even that, whether even if it is conference proceedings, I feel that it is authentic as well, because if it is a conference conducted by a reputed, or a good institution, I don't say reputed, a good institution that does things properly, if they are doing the thing, and your paper get published in their conference proceedings, isn't it authentic? It is authentic. They have done a proper peer review. You know the people who are reviewing, you know the HOD, you know the coordinators. There is an interaction happening, there is a give and take. You can ask, where is my paper? I paid money, why aren't you giving any response? There is something called accountability there. So I am all for such publications than this, whether we don't know exist or not, kind of journal sitting somewhere in the west or somewhere. They say that their office is in United States of America, New York City, but we know that they are sending messages from our neighborhood, because you can purchase small spaces, yeah, what can I say, digital spaces in different countries, and you can set up your offices there. No physical office, only online offices there, and it is just an understanding. So like that, many journals, many international journals are published by Indians. We Indians are very good business people. So yeah, what was I saying? What was I trying to say?
Conference
Lost it.
proceedings. Like,
Yeah,
so
go for conference proceedings. Yes, yes, please.
one more query. Is it possible that when you are getting the reviewers' feedback, okay, like you submitted to some journal and then you got three feedback from three different reviewers, and is it a chance that they are going to be completely contradictory? That from two you are going to get some minor suggestions and acceptance, and the third one is going to say decline submission. So like, how
The,
do
the,
they
the
take
thing
that? Is
is,
that
no, no,
okay?
yeah, I understand your concern. Good question. The thing is, what happens internally is slightly different. Once the editor, whatever editor, if it is a big journal, you have small titles. If it is a small journal, there will only be the chief editor, and he will be sharing it with the reviewer. So whatever it is sent to one person for reviewing first. This paper is sent, and it is, your name and all details will be hidden, concealed, and that person will receive your paper. He will review it, and he will say something. Good journals, what they do is they will send your paper to two people, two reviewers, and of course initial step is they will do this, auto vetting through software, which will tell them about whether it is basic quality check, plagiarism check will be done, basic quality check for language, etc., will be done, and then only it will be sent to a human being. And good journals send it to two people. So what happens is These two people will review, and if one person says it can be accepted, and if the other person says it should be rejected, then it will go to a third person. This is how some journalists work. Some journalists don't do that. That not that doesn't mean they are bad journalists, good journalists themselves, but they don't have lot of reviewers, or they, when the more the number of reviewers you take, the more expenses are there as well. So common sense. So one reviewer, if it is a good reviewer enough, so you will get reviews from that one reviewer only. But there is never a situation where the chief editor is going to send two contradictory, one saying your paper is accepted and the other saying your paper will be rejected. No, they will not do that. Of course, it will be mediated, or there will be somebody to take care of this. So through that via media only, you will be getting this. The reviewer, most 99% of good journals don't have the reviewer directly contacting the contributor. Never. No, because that itself spoils and fails the purpose of blind peer review, right? So that doesn't happen. It is always, it goes through some channel, and to keep the trail they do it through emails. That is why they use email. The chief editor sends it to, or the commissioning editor, whatever you call it, he or she sends it to the reviewer. The reviewer sends the comments back to that editor, and he or she sends it to you. This is how it happens. So don't worry if there is a contradiction, if there is a problem, they will solve it and tell you. Okay. So yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Yes, Neha.
uh,
Yes.
can you please provide a list of journals from authentic journals in this humanities and literature sector?
Did you listen to the lecture? Did you
Yes.
listen to the disclaimer that I gave at the beginning of the first day? We will not have any lists. And even if I want to suggest something, I will not do, because that is not the right thing to do. I don't want to vitiate your minds with anything. You will learn, or you have learned. If you haven't learned, you will go through the website links and you will learn how to find out good journals. That is the right process. It is time consuming, but spend some time on it, work hard, find the journals, because I may think that one journal is good. It may be good till today, but tomorrow it may become a bad journal. So there is nothing like a good journal, trustworthy journal, nothing. Nothing. So find out what a journal is at the moment you receive the call for paper, and that is how you can proceed. This is, yeah, you can take some hints from, say, for example, UGC care list. It is still there, though they have scrapped the idea of UGC care list. The list is still there. I don't say UGC care list has only good journals, it has bad journals as well. But I feel, or I have felt, that over the years the list has got slightly pruned and more fine tuned, so that I think it, unfortunately, UGC care list was scrapped at a time when it was shaping up in a proper way. When it had lot of problems, it was running smoothly, and when it cured many of its problems, it was scrapped. But that is one place. Then another simple thing you can do is ask people, find out the CVs of the people you trust. Say, for example, your professors and all. Don't ask them the journals. Ask them, check their CVs. It will be available on your college website and all. Check their CVs and see where they are publishing. Of course, only trustworthy people who are sensible as well, because I know that there are so many journals where all our professors are publishing, which are fake, which are predatory. So sensible people look at their CVs and find out where they are publishing their papers, and more often than not, you will find good journals and trustworthy journals. It's just an indicator, not a guarantee. So use your common sense. These are some ways we can find out what is happening, where things are happening, and all.
Okay, sir. Because since some time I have been trying to find the UGC care list, but I was unable to find the actual list of the journals.
Is that website shut down now? I think it is not. Go to UGC Care website and you can create an account even now. Until last month, they had that option to create an account. It's free. You create an account, only then you can get check for the title of journals and all. But they have those lists there, I'm sure. If it is not there in UGC Care website, it will be available on UGC's website at least. Links to the earlier care list and things like that. Yes, it is not like a list of good journals from English language and literature. No, they will have the list of all the journals, humanities journals, Metallica, Argentina, like that. You will find so many names, but carefully go through the links. They will provide you the links. Of course, at least you will not get distracted by cloned and fake journals, because the links provided on UGC care list websites are pointing to the journal's official website. Not that it is all good, but it is of course pointing only to the journal's official website. Go and find out and go through their submission guidelines and APC policies. Learn, stop. That is what I would recommend. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So if there are no further queries, we can wind up our workshop. And I'm sure that many of you have many feedbacks to share. There will be opportunity for that in our WhatsApp group. So now I request any of the participants, any of you can just register a vote of thanks. We don't have an assigned uh, person for that. If any of you are volunteering, you may just, you can register the vote of thanks. Deepti ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Manu, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I would like to thank Manu, sir, for keeping us engaged for 3 days. And today is the last day, and couldn't realize that 3 days passed so smoothly, and into that mood of starting from what exactly is research. And then he talked about how you will make it feel interesting for yourself as a researcher. This is very important that I learned from the sessions. Plus, in yesterday's session, when you talked about method and methodology, yes, I went back and read the things when I was like working a couple of days ago on when I was reading about phenomenological studies and narrative style and the study and all that. So there I realized exactly, yeah, I still need to explore things. So that was one thing I learned. And in today's session, I learned about the publishing articles and all that. And yeah, I had participated in conferences, submitted my research papers in different conferences, and I realized there is a lot more to do. And thank you so much, sir. I've learned a lot. And yeah, thanks a lot. Over to you, Larissa.
Yeah, so when we come to the culmination of this workshop, actually this workshop materialized primarily because of an yes from the part of Manasa. When I approached him, he said that he was very happy to do this workshop, but the problem was with regard to the dates. Fortunately, we were able to place these 3 days. Uh, I know that 25th he was very busy. He has some personal engagements, and he all the way came back and he joined us from 26 onwards. And probably during these days also he was busy with other things, but he was on time. He was part of everything, and I'm sure that the problem with Manasa is Manasa cannot be limited to 3 days. That is the main problem with him. And definitely, we can in future we can have him. We can have further discussions. And another thing is, when every day when I say good night, uh, there is a hope of meeting again. So today's good night is something like Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet parting scene. Good night, good night. I shall say good night till it be tomorrow. That is a problem. So I'm not getting into a good night today. And thank you, Manusa, for joining us for your insightful sessions. It was really useful. Thank you, sir. And all the participants. I know that certain people definitely, to be frank, they just need a certificate. that's fine. We are happy to give that for all those registered participants. But there are certain others who honestly wish to know things, engage with discussions, and I can see many faces in this group as well. So very happy for all of you for joining us, for joining St. Dominic's College English Department, this workshop. Thank you, dear participants. And now, regarding the certificate, soon after the session, I'll give you the link plus all the details regarding that. Only thing is that you just read through all those things and then you please fill the form. And you have time till tomorrow, 6 p.m. Flexible, but still tomorrow 6 p.m. By that time, you can fill the form, and after that, within 2 days after verification, we will give you the certificate. So once again, thanking you all. I think we can wind up. Manusar, any end notes to add? You said that end notes really help us.
Sir,
in the
I,
first
I just
session.
want to say, I just want to say a few words if I can.
Sure, ma'am, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Thank you so much, Mr. Harry. Thank you so much, Manu sir. I think I heard sir for the first time in 2013, if I'm not wrong. Before that, also I had attended some conferences and seminars, and like sir said, na, that there will that you introduce yourself and your topic and your time is over. But then that was my first conference when sir was there, though it was an online, I think. And he was the one person who was meticulously listening to each and every presentation and giving feedback. And I was thinking, yeah, how much he knows so much. Like in every field, he is giving feedback, which is really going to improve the paper. He gave me feedback. And then I, incorporated those and I thought, yeah, now this paper looks better. So, whenever I go to conferences, I miss such kind of, resource people or, who are going to take that much pain. Otherwise, it's just like ticking the box. So thank you so much, sir. And like, I look up to you and that if I'm going to do something, I'm also going to do justice like you do every time. So really, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Manusar, anything else?
Thank you. I don't know whether I should blush or be embarrassed listening all these things, people looking up to me and all. But if anything, my ending note would be to say that I'm proud of you, Harry. Mm, you know, I'm listening to you after a long time, but I'm so proud and so happy to see the kind of development and maturity. And when I talk to you even on WhatsApp chat, I feel that I should learn from Hari how to be so mature and so clear and so prudent in everything. So good. I'm so happy, and it is a special moment for, because this is the first time I'm having a conference where it is organized by or coordinated by someone who was my student physically for long. So that way it is a fulfilling moment for me, fulfilling event for me. And when you contacted me, it was a different, altogether different feeling. What a father would feel, or so that kind of feeling I was having. So thank you so much, St. Dominic's College as well. This college is also very close to my heart for very personal reasons. My father was connected with this institution, and very many ways it is a nostalgic homecoming for me as well. So thanks everyone. Thanks to the Department of English, and you have been very meticulous. There aren't any unnecessary speeches or welcome speech, vote of thanks, secretary, president, no, nothing. Well done, extraordinarily well organized. Even look at the WhatsApp group and the kind of messages. Nothing is surplus. Everything in the optimum level. That is, beautifully organized conference. And as a participant, I'm really happy to be a part of such an event. Thank you to the participants as well. Of course, you have done a great job listening.
So thank you, sir, and we'll call it a day. Okay, thank you once again.